looks like we're live. Let me see. Make sure I can hear it all. Here we go. It says live. See if I can hear my own voice. Here we go. Cool. And it looks like we're live. Yep, we're live. Okay, so whomever may be watching, we have a co-host here, Brett.
Hey.
That's him. And we got some topics to talk about. He is more of an Apple lover than I am, so I thought who best to talk about the keynote than someone who loves Apple and someone who hates Apple. So we're
They
gonna.
are pretty good.
But first, we're gonna start off with a few other topics that have nothing to do with Apple. Let me get over there. So to start, we're gonna talk about Nintendo's online service, and it seems like they released some information about that this week. So they talk about how it's going to be on the lines of Xbox Live and PSN, but with a couple extra perks. To start, it's going to start between $4 a month, $8 for 3 months, or $20 for a year. A family plan with at least 2 accounts are going to be $35. It says users can get at least a 7-day free trial, but games like Fortnite are not going to require a subscription to play. It does also offer titles such as these below. These are all NES titles that they're going to offer for free on the Switch. And I believe they're doing this to prevent people from emulating is more likely what they're starting to go after, because I remember there's being news about Nintendo suing places like I think it was Emu ROMs or something like that into the grounds, or threatening to sue them if they keep sharing a lot of the ROMs for their old games. More than likely, this is a way to counteract that by offering a way to play these old games, but also making money off of it. That's about all we got for information on that. Besides, its release date's supposed to be September 18th, so in 3 days?
Yeah, in 3 days. So it's nice being as a Switch owner. It's nice to be able to see all these titles being added to the Switch, which is going to be beneficial for a lot of people. I don't think it'll stop the emulation of certain things, but I think that it will help with the cause.
It's kind of like the how Spotify was released to fight pirating of music. It'll more than likely have the same effect as long as they don't make outrageous prices for different games. So like the popular ones like Zelda or Super Mario Bros., if they don't make them overly expensive to use, or the subscription base where you pay $5 a month for whatever game you want through the ROMs,
Yep.
that will be good. But if they don't do that, emulation's still going to be popular on the pirating websites or other websites that they happen to offer the ROMs on.
I agree with that.
All right, and that's pretty much all that we got on that topic for now, until they release more information. But doesn't look like there's much more they're hiding from us. So for the next topic, this is kind of about Microsoft. They were doing well, and I give them that. But this is, if they actually release this in a future update, it's going to kind of turn people off from going to Microsoft. As lately, from what I've been seeing, they've been losing a lot of their desktop shares to Apple lately, because everybody likes Apple apparently, or like me, they go to Linux. So Microsoft has been putting these warnings up when users install Chrome or Firefox, which to me that's kind of a bad idea, as when you set as default, it already prompts you to test Edge over whatever other browser you want to set as default. This is going to get more annoying, especially for IT people like us, when we're trying to install Firefox on 10 different computers, and this is what's going to come up before we install it. They say that it's not supposed to come out in the October update, but that doesn't mean it's not going to come out in a future update. And I think doing this is definitely going to turn a lot of people off. I don't believe Apple does that for changing their browsers, as far as I know.
Apple doesn't have any issues as far as notifying and trying to do that type of stuff. But the only time that Microsoft currently prompts you is when you do switch anyway, or when you go to change your default browser, then it says, do you want to switch anyway off of Edge? That is the biggest issue I see with it. And if this is going to come up every time someone goes to install another browser, that's going to cause big issues, and there's going to be controversy over that.
I think so as well. Do you want to get that? Yeah, it'd get more annoying when you're imaging 10 to 15 computers, but for the average user, I think that'll be that'd be a nuisance, especially for the 15-year-old kids who like to install the web browsers on the parents' computers. It's just gonna be an extra click rather than trying to get somebody to use your browser. It's not gonna work. If you want somebody to use Edge, make it good instead of making it another Internet Explorer with a UI overhaul. It's about all edges.
It does run a lot better, I find, but I do believe that other browsers such as Chrome and Firefox and even the Brave browser, which I like to use, those are all wonderful.
Brave's based off of Chrome.
It is based off of Chrome, but it has more security features.
Still has a tracking issue though. So Chrome's basic coding has Google tracking built into it. But when you use Brave, it doesn't disable it. It just adds an ad blocker to it. So I don't think Brave is all that great either. I just use Firefox if I want to use something private. Firefox, they turned off a lot of those stuff. They turned off, and they prompt you if they're going to take any information from you. But that was on a different topic. But as you said, it's going to cause a lot of controversy if they add this. I know early 2000s Microsoft got hit with a big lawsuit over not letting people install third-party browsers. So this could go the same way, where they're going to get hit by either the EU with their new GPDR, or if they're going to get hit by as the FTC was what got Microsoft back in the early 2000s. So that could be the FTC again, but then again, FTC doesn't have a lot of power in the first place. So who knows? Maybe the EU will save us all from this. They also ruined a lot of other things as of recently. They released the whole copyrights, whatever it was.
Anybody who copies or will post any news article that may have copywritten material, or if it does, the website, so if you're on Facebook and someone posts something that could be considered copyright material, the website will be charged for the copyright if it is posted. So that can be a lot of money right there, especially for people, and it's also going to cause a lot of controversy whether or not people in the EU will have, if they post a news article that could have copywritten material, that's going to fine the website, and then that's going to cause a lot of restrictions and security
or
changes.
For the younger ones, the memes. The memes are going to die, at least in the EU. In the US, we still have them, and Canada. But goodbye memes in the EU. And well, for the people in the UK, if you actually end up leaving the EU, you won't get affected by it. But otherwise, have fun. I'm not going to have to worry too much about that. Okay. Well, that wasn't a topic originally, but that works and kind of gives you an overview of what that's going to be. The next one is kind of interesting. I never really was into Pixel books, but there's a nice small leak about the Pixelbook 2, which is very good for average users who don't want to spend a ton of money on a Mac and don't want to use Windows because it's too complicated for you. Chromebooks are where you'd go. It's a oversimplified operating system and way too easy to use. You turn it on and you're basically done. You just sign into your Gmail and everything is there. The Chromebook 2 actually looks very nice, and I wouldn't mind going after it. An online ad is right here. You can see smaller bezels, so it looks 2018 enough, and it still comes with the what do they call that pen? Do they have like do you have any idea what the pen is?
Stylus of some sort.
Chrome pen, whatever they want to call it. There's supposed to be a Surface-like Chromebook as well, where it detaches like a Surface does, and they're not sure if the video that was released, which I can't actually, I don't see if I think I can find the video. A couple seconds of an ad. Is this it? Never mind. There's a video that was released that shows some sort of feature on the Chromebook, and it looks like it could be a Surface type of Chromebook where the keyboard detaches. But to give you an idea of the difference, if you look right here, this is the first generation Chromebook. The bezels are very, very large on all sides, and if you know what the iPhone 10 is, you know that bezels are tiny. For most of this year, they've been pretty tiny. If you see Chromebook 2, or whatever, there's 2 models coming out this year. If you look at this, they're a lot smaller and a lot more appealing. This is something that I would get if the price isn't outrageous, because I can just install Linux or put Windows 10 on it, as they announced last month that you can dual boot Chromebooks with Windows 10, which gives it more use. Because I personally won't use Chrome OS, but for somebody who isn't very technological minded, can use Chromebook without really getting confused. It's fairly, very, very, very easy to use.
Yeah, I found that it comes in handy, or the Chrome OS definitely comes in handy when dealing with schools and also dealing with elderly people who only stream on the internet for things like Facebook. They can use Google Docs and all those products instead of using like OneDrive in the Microsoft suite.
It's all cloud-based. Basically, your information is saved on Google's servers, so you can go on your phone and get your documents, or you can go on any computer in the world as long as you sign into your Google account, and you can get your Google Docs or anything off of Google Drive or your photos or whatever. It's the same way that an iPhone works with a MacBook or an iMac or your iPad. It all is intertwined. Your Android phone will work with the Chromebook. It's nice to see a competition, but I don't like the fact that all of your stuff is saved in the cloud. At least with the MacBook, it's saved on the computer and optionally put in the cloud if you want it.
Yeah.
But that would be for a video to talk about why Chromebooks are okay or why Chromebooks are bad. The event that it's going to be released on, I believe, is October 10th. It's, from my knowledge, is when the Google Keynote or whatever it's called is going to be released.
Would be Google I/O?
Yeah, Google I/O. I think it's October 10th if I'm correct. I don't remember. Google I/O. This year, 2018, is going to be, I don't know. No, that's not correct. Pixel 3 event. When is that going to be? It's sometime in early October.
Unveil smartphones on October 9th is what The Verge is saying.
October 9th? Okay, so October 9th will be when you will find out, well, we'll all find out if this Pixelbook is accurate and which one it's going to be. There's two models that are rumored to be released. Pixel 3 will be released then as well, Pixel XL, and if there's Pixel Ultra, which has been rumored for 2 years now, we'll see if that comes out as well. October 10th is going to be the Razer phone release. Razer 2 is going to be released on October 10th, and OnePlus 6T will be released sometime after that. So it's going to be a very interesting month of October, especially since Apple was just released their phones yesterday. So we'll see who gets the spotlight. Google could come in and take it away. Even Samsung has a surprise event coming up as well. Samsung event. It's about their foldable phones, we believe. October 11th. So the day after Razer releases their phone, Samsung has an event going on.
Which is 2 days after.
Which could be the foldable phone or the new Galaxy S line. So we'll see what that does. This will be a very interesting month.
October will be the month of phones for sure.
Yes, it will. So now we're going to get on to the Apple news, where everything we talk about from here on will be about Apple. So what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about the rumor of the iPad switching to USB-C. So this is kind of interesting. I remember hearing about this a while ago. I don't remember when. I think it was early August or late July that I heard that the EU might be forcing Apple to switch to a standardized charger like the USB-C to allow more universal. I don't remember what it's called. It's
connectivity.
Yeah, connectivity, kind of like make it so it's easier to buy cables that aren't over expensive, like the Lightning chargers are.
Over inflation.
That too. That way, you can go take my phone's charger and charge your iPhone or iPad. I know this year at least the iPhones didn't get the USB-C, but the iPad might. I don't know if that was touched on or not during the keynote. I know that it was mainly focused on the iPhones in the keynote. Let's see.
Yeah, the iPad Pro feature Face ID and switch from Lightning ports to USB-C. I can see that being really good, especially
I would love that
for connectivity through multiple devices and being able to charge over multiple devices. But I can also see it being really bad, whereas people are going to buy the new iPhone, and if they buy a new iPad, they're going to expect to swap the chargers and be able to use them, but they can't.
But the new MacBook Pros for the last 2 years have had USB-C chargers.
Yep.
So it looks like they're slowly moving over to USB-C. Another thing is, I was at Tesla's today. I actually went into Tesla and looked at the cars today, and the Teslas have 2 ports. They have a USB-C and a Lightning port in the center console, so you can charge your phone. Now, if everything's USB-C, all you have to have is 1 port or 2 ports and make it cheaper on every single automobile company that includes chargers. USB-C would just make it a lot cheaper for everybody, even Apple, because they won't have to find somebody to make the proprietary ports, and then they just buy from any average maker.
Yeah, mass shipment. It's nice being able to use the USB-C, but I wonder if Apple's going to do with USB-C like they did with the Lightning port, where if you buy any external accessories from the company or any other external company, you can barely use their accessories. I've run into that multiple times with the iPhone 7 only having the Lightning port and no headphone jack. That has caused me lots of pain when...
I don't know. I don't know how they detect if the accessories are Apple or not.
It's something related with the drivers.
Could be that. I don't really know how that works with iOS. I haven't looked too deep into it, especially since iOS is closed source, so I can't really go through the source code and see what's going on. But this also talks about a rumored MacBook to replace the 12-inch MacBook, which would be nice. And they also say this one was confirmed, the Apple Watch definitely has slimmer bezels and the ECG, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But that's summarizing the fact that they're moving over to USB-C, which is nice. I definitely like to see that their iMacs, MacBook Pros, and their iPads both have USB-C, so you can just carry one charger around for your laptop and charge your iPad too. We'll see where Apple goes in the future, but right now I'm staying away from Apple. It's very tempting because everything just works, but I like my Android phones. Now we're going to move towards the keynote. I don't know if this was actually talked about in the keynote or not, but we're going to talk about the keynote and cell phones. So Apple released their rumored phones, which I don't know who leaked it at first, but the rumors were correct about their XS, XS Max, and XR. Now, from what I can see, is the XR is the cheap-based one, so it's the one that's supposed to be for everybody, and super inexpensive, yet it's more expensive than my phone was at full price. Even the newest iteration of this phone is cheaper than the new iPhone, and the Samsung Galaxy S9 is cheaper than the iPhone XR.
Yeah, the iPhone 10R is...
Or 10R, yeah.
It's really nice, but the issues we've seen is when app development or with app developers, when you have that notch, it causes some issues there. But I really like the color selection. As we can see right there, they have the product red, and I don't know if anybody else has seen the product red, full front and back. That looks really nice, but they've also introduced a few new colors with the yellow, the coral, and the blue as well. It's kind of like the iPhone 5C when it was released.
Yeah.
As a cheaper model, it's pretty good. You still get your wireless charging because it does stick with the glass back.
Yeah.
But for $250 less, you get a phone with the same exact hardware with very slight differences. Besides, the big differences are you only have the one camera, and the screen is a 720p screen pretty much.
I don't think it's at 720 just yet. It's also a LCD screen, so it's not an OLED.
Yep, it's no longer an OLED.
So OLED is different because the blacks are deeper. So blacks on OLEDs are pixels that are turned off. Let me see if I can find one on my phone. See if I can show you. I don't think I have anything on my phone. But blacks on an OLED screen are off. So pixels aren't actually on, and the colors are more vibrant on an OLED screen. An LCD screen sometimes can get washed out a little bit, but also has really, as the colors get brighter, the whiter the colors get. So it gets like this weird white film over it, and it's also not as battery efficient. So the battery could possibly be worse on the the 10R than the 10S and 10S Max. One thing I believe is MKHD said that the colors of the iPhone 10R, you can tell the difference between the 10R and the 10S because the 10R looks like cheap colors, and the 10S and 10S Max have those premium looking colors. Mm-hmm. So you can tell what person went the cheap route and got the 8 upgrade rather than the 10 upgrade.
I believe the biggest difference is that as far as the colors is the iPhone 10R uses an aluminum body casing on the outer edges, and with that they can transfer or they can change the color on the aluminum body, but they can't with the...
What phone had that issue? There was a phone... that had the issue a while ago. Was it the first? It was the first iPhone 7 that had the new body, the aluminum body to it, right? The 7 has the aluminum body to it.
I believe that was the iPhone 6.
One of them had the aluminum body to it, and it rubbed off on the back of it. The Pixel 2 had the same body to it, but it didn't rub off and it didn't turn green like some people thought it would. And that has an aluminum and glass body.
Yep.
So for the specs of the 10R, it 64 gigs, 128 gigs, or 256 gigs. The prices will change depending on what you get for the internal capacity. As for the size and the weight of it, it's the same size as the iPhone 8, just with a larger screen. Instead of what is a 5.2 inch screen on the iPhone 8, something like that, it has a 6.1 inch. It's LCD, so same technology as in the previous iPhones, same resolution as the previous iPhones.
That one is 720.
Yeah, 720, and then it basically everything's the same. It just has a larger screen, probably a different battery, better camera, and it doesn't have a fingerprint scanner, nor does it have a home button. So the one to get people out there who can't get away from a home button, this isn't the phone for you. I would wait to see what comes out next year. But if you don't mind losing your home button and losing your fingerprint scanner, then go for it and upgrade. It has a new chip to it. It's still IP67 rated, and a lot of extra special specs on the camera that I'm probably not going to talk about, because it'd be better to talk about this in a video rather than explaining it on live stream what everything means, as I'm trying to keep it kind of simplified for the viewers out there that may not understand all of the technology talk.
Yeah, one thing with the camera features is that new A12 chip that they have. It gives the camera most of its abilities there as far as doing portrait mode and some other features.
That's right.
Which now with a single camera on the iPhone 10R using the neural engine on the A12, it allows you to do the portrait mode, and it looks phenomenal.
That's right. It's using what Google uses for their Pixels. It uses AI processing, so that way it can detect what the background is and what the subject is, which that's kind of cool, because the Pixel at this moment has the best camera on any smartphone. As of this moment, still has the best camera on any smartphone. So I'm excited to see what the Pixel 3 has. If it's worth it, I might upgrade the Pixel 3 if they don't have that obnoxious notch. I don't like the notch at all. The teardrop notch is what I'm hoping for. So back-facing camera, this is all the video stuff. So 4K at 60 FPS, which just started getting pushed out this year. I don't think any phones before 2018 had 60 FPS at 4K. Front-facing camera, 7 megapixels. That's still kind of small considering what we have for front-facing cameras now. This phone I have right here from 2016 has an 8 megapixel front-facing camera. And carriers, or you can buy it unlocked, and nothing really else that's worth talking about besides the fact that it doesn't have a headphone jack still. But I'm not too worried. I don't actually use my headphone jack on my phone. Yeah, that looks about it for the 10R. Why did they use an X instead of the number 10? Yeah. So these are the colors. If you want to see the colors in an actual video, MKHD has a great video that talks about the iPhone 10R and the 10S and shows the colors in his hand. The colors are very vibrant. I don't like the yellow. The yellow looks absolutely stupid. It looks like a banana in your hand, and it's not worth looking at that. The red is very nice. The red and the white look very, very nice. The blue isn't too bad, but the red and the white is what I would go for if I was going to buy an iPhone. But I'm not going to, so don't take it from me.
I will be.
You're gonna upgrade to the 10S?
Nope, I'm gonna get the 10R.
10R?
I'll explain that after.
Okay. Well, time for the 10S. Now, the 10S and the 10S Max. I don't know. The only difference between these two phones are the screen size. So it comes down to what screen size do you want. It has the same capacity, so the 64 gig, 256, and 512 gigabytes. The size is different, as you can see here. It has a 5.8 inch screen or a 6.5 inch screen. I would go for the 6.5 because I have obnoxiously large hands. But that's really the only difference between it. It has an OLED display, not the LCD like the 10R. It's, was it 2K? Looks like it's 2K. Yeah, it looks like it's 2K display, so it's just above 1080p. I haven't seen any need for having a 2K display on a phone, but that's also because I haven't used a 2K display. I only have a 1080p on my phone at this moment. 480 ppi, that's really good. 3D touch, yeah, that's another thing. So the 10R does not have 3D touch anymore. The 10S still has 3D touch. So if you're one of those heavy users of 3D touch, I wouldn't get the 10R and I'd go for the 10S. But the 10S starts at $999, I believe it is.
Yep.
$1,000, or you can go for $750 with the 10R. It also has a better water rating for the 10S. And other than that, I believe everything's the same except for the dual cameras. What the dual cameras is a wide angle and telephoto, if I'm correct. But I haven't used the dual cameras, so I don't actually know if they're worth it or not. Again, I'm still from a phone from 2016, so I don't have the dual camera. I don't have the screen. But that's really the only difference that I can see between the two phones.
Yep. Well, the water rating on the iPhone 10R is, I forget, it's one.
The 10R is IP67.
Yeah, IP67, while the 10S is IP68.
Yep.
So it has better water resistance, but it definitely...
It's a 3 meter difference. So IP67 is like 1 meter, so 3 feet. IP68 is 2 meters, so that's 6 feet.
Yep.
6 feet at 30 minutes.
In deep pools.
Not with your 10R. So why are you getting a 10R over a 10S?
The reason why I want the 10R is, one, I like the slightly larger screen, and mostly because of the pricing.
$750.
Yeah, the $750 isn't that bad, and it stays in line with Apple's pricing scheme that they've done in the past. So with the iPhone 10s and the 10s Max, they both jumped the price up. So just like Apple last year with the iPhone 8 released the iPhone 8 for $700, they, as the standard model, they released the iPhone 10 as a premium model for $1,000, and they're going to continue with that premium model as their new standard. So by the regularity of it, if they want you to go from the iPhone 8 to the iPhone 10, they're having you go almost $300 more than what you would have paid for their standard model, whereas you pay $50 more for the lower end model, which is way better than the iPhone 8 in my opinion.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So,
and it's almost the same phone, except for the screen, camera, and the water rating.
Coming from somebody who uses Android and my phone cost me $509 in 2016, it's hard to see me spending more than $700 on a phone. The OnePlus 6T, when it's going to be released, is going to be priced for $550 at the 64 gigabyte internal storage. If you see on the screen here, it says $750 for a 64 gigabyte. The phone that I'm getting is going to be similarly spec'd, and it's going to be cheaper by $200. So personally, I don't see me spending $750 on a iPhone. But then again, I don't have an iPhone, so I don't know what's so good about it. I don't understand it. I don't have anything Apple. I used to have a MacBook, and I loved the MacBook, but after what I've seen, what they did with the 2017 model or 2016 model, I have stayed away from MacBooks. I liked the 2013 MacBook the best. That was my favorite. 2013 15-inch. I really enjoyed that model.
Yeah, those are both great models. I do like the newer models. The biggest thing that I think I really enjoy is the keyboard, which a lot of people hate, and I know Apple has no replacement for it right now. So if you break your keyboard,
the butterfly switches.
The butterfly switches. There's less travel distance, but when you click on the key, you can feel the click a lot better, and it takes a little getting used to. A couple hours of playing with it, and in my opinion, I personally love the butterfly switch.
I like my keys.
Mechanical keyboards are great, but they don't come in too many laptops.
Nope, my laptop does not. I have a Surface. I do not have a mechanical keyboard on that. I actually don't have. I have really terrible membrane keys on it, as far as I know.
The Surface keyboards are nice for portability and being able to take them right off, but the keyboards themselves, I feel, are kind of flimsy.
Yours might be. Mine's the Surface Pro 4 is really good.
Okay.
From what I've never had an issue with them. I don't like to type on it still. I don't like to type on the Surface at all. I like to use the Surface Pen. That's just me. That's really all that we got for today. I didn't really see much more about the keynote that was to talk about. I don't think they were talking about the iPads. Oh, the Apple Watch. That's right. They're releasing the new Apple Watch. Apple Watch Series 4. It has the EKG, which is supposed to be able to tell when you fell or if you have a heart issue, which is really, really cool. Because it'll tell you if you need to go see a doctor or if there's something wrong with your heart because it monitors your heart 24/7, which I wish more devices had something like this. Samsung doesn't use Android or Wear OS, so I've been trying to stay away from Samsung since they only work with Samsung phones, but I haven't found any Android watches that can compete with the Apple Watch. Not that I know of.
There are many, if any.
I don't know any of them. I wish the Apple Watch worked with Android. I would have it right now if it worked with Android, but it doesn't. Besides that, I don't. AirPower is still missing. I don't know if you've heard what AirPower was. It's supposed to be a proprietary wireless charger that Apple was going to sell. But it disappeared from the Apple's website.
I believe that there was some sort of, if I'm not mistaken, there was some sort of wireless charging piece that Apple used to have that you could use for their mouse.
Maybe. It looks like they did release a new iPad. What did they release on this one?
The new 9.7 inch. Oh, so they're going back to the 9.7 inch?
I want to see if it has USB-C or if it's still using Lightning. So I don't know how new this actually is or when it was released. As the A10, is the A10 the new processor?
No, that's a few years older.
What's the new processor again?
The A12.
A12. Okay. So maybe they'll have another event for when the iPads get released. I don't really know how it goes when they release iPads.
I don't think that they're going to go with the 9.7 inch just because they released 10.5 and that's been fairly successful. The 9.7 inch, I believe, was released in either 2015 or 16.
So the iPad Pro?
Yeah, the iPad Pro.
I would like an iPad if I could do more with it, but I wonder if the iPad's going to get the notch. I wonder if they're going to go full display on it or not. When does Apple release the iPads? Do they release them like as a special event, or if they just kind of roll out?
I thought they were included with the Apple iPhone release, but there may be another release.
Maybe
thing that they have.
They're competing with other companies by holding a release off until after everybody releases all the new stuff.
It definitely could be.
Because if I was Apple, I'd wait till everybody releases their products and then come back with another product.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's what Samsung's doing. They released their Note a month ago, and the new S9s or whatever, and now they're coming back after Google, OnePlus, and Razer released their phones to release another thing.
Samsung's a smart company.
So, yeah, that's why they're doing so well. They're on par with Apple for sales and such. I wish Apple wasn't so the same every year. If they were more innovative, I would totally go with them. But they're not very innovative, and if you need replacement parts, because I fix my own devices, it's super difficult to get any parts at all. If anybody here follows Linus Tech Tips, they tried to get a new screen for their iMac Pro, and it took them 4 months to get a new screen after buying it from a inside source that had access to parts. So they couldn't get it through authorized dealers.
Yeah, Apple, I found from what I've seen is Apple hasn't really been releasing a lot of their products through authorized dealers. The one thing that gets me is that butterfly keyboard, the butterfly switch keyboard they have in their newer Macs.
Yeah.
Is once that thing goes, there's no replacement for it. From what I've seen, unless that's changed within the past couple of months.
I haven't talked to anybody that's authorized dealer or that works at the Genius Bar, so I don't really know. I respect Apple for sometimes if they're not screwing their customers over by jacking the prices up and making replacement parts super hard to get their hands on. Because I owned a 2010 MacBook Pro. I ended up giving it to him, but you could take the back plate off of it, change the RAM out, take the processor out, take everything out, and put it back together without an issue.
Yeah, now the only thing you can possibly change is the M.2 drive.
Nope, the new ones don't have M.2 drives anymore.
Never mind, you can't change anything.
So, and the new MacBook Pros, everything's soldered onto the motherboard. RAM, processor, and storage. Battery's the only thing that you can take out if you can get it detached from the motherboard. That's it. Everything else soldered on. The iMac Pros, though, you can still get stuff apart if you can take it apart. in order to get the iMac Pros apart, you have to take the screen off, and then after that, once the screen's off, you can get to everything on the inside.
Yeah.
But taking a screen off without breaking it is super difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Most screens I've taken off from a phone or anything that's sealed on, I've destroyed.
Yeah. They make there's certain kits that you can buy where it's just something you stick in the microwave and then you put it on the screen.
That doesn't work very good.
Yeah, and it's getting the glue back on, that's the big pain.
So the glue, you have to buy new glue, new adhesive. You can't put it on with the old adhesive because as soon as you stretch it out, the waterproofing's gone and it's more likely to come back up. I made that mistake, or I tried to reuse old glue. It didn't work. The one that you had, the reason why the screen with the metal, the glass was off of it because I reused the glue.
That makes more sense now.
So don't reuse glue if you're taking off a screen. But yeah, if Apple can change what they're doing, I don't mind buying their products. But right now, the way they're going is it's turning all the technical community away.
I just think if you have if you have an Apple ecosystem, everything looks wonderful and it behaves wonderful as far as integration goes between all your devices. Because I have both the iPad and the iPhone, and I had a Mac, and every device, if I send one message, being able to see all my messages on every device, which I know you can do with certain apps on Android.
Yep.
But there are still certain features within everything, like AirDrop, being able to just send.
AirDrop's fantastic. I love AirDrop, but Android has not come out with anything close. Wait, yeah, they did. They came out with Google File Go, where you can, if two devices have Files Go on it, you can drag and drop it and send it to the other person.
That's pretty neat.
But that's about it, and I refuse to use anything made by Google.
Yeah.
So I'm a little screwed. I don't like Apple and I don't like Google. There's nothing else I can go to.
Well, I just think if you're going to get an Apple device, one thing you need to utilize is AirDrop. Especially if you're migrating from an old Mac to a new and you don't want to restore.
Yeah.
If you want to get all your files from the old to the new, easiest and fastest way to do it, I found, is using AirDrop, just sending it to the other. And for like 12 gigs, I think, at one point I did that. It was like not even 5 minutes. It was really quick.
I found an app called, what's it called? Real Pro? Is what they call it. It is called Tools. It's called something Sync. It used to be called BitTorrent Sync, but they changed the name of it. It's the same idea. You can connect your computer's folder to it on your phone, and you can transfer items between your phone and your computer as long as your computer's on. I don't use cloud storage, but that's because of who I am. But if you don't want to use cloud storage, that's a good way around it. Instead of transferring it from device to device, using AirDrop, you use BitTorrent Sync, and you can just drag and drop it from device to device if you can sync up a folder.
Yeah, I do use cloud storage, of course, because I'm no one big or anything like that. I haven't had any issues with any leaks or anything like that, but I back all my data up, all my photos, especially, to both OneDrive and iCloud.
My photos are on a backup drive in my backpack that I carry with me. And I have a backup drive in my safe, so I have two of them in 3 different places, and that's how I don't lose storage. But that's because I've had these hard drives forever, so I might as well utilize them rather than buying cloud storage, because I can't afford cloud storage at all. I don't want to pay the $10 a month for a terabyte.
Yeah.
When my download speeds that would take 4 days to download a terabyte worth of data from a cloud storage. I don't really want to deal with that, trying to download all my data. I had that. I had Mega Sync, or it's cloud storage. It's called Mega. And I had like 50 gigabytes worth of data on it. But yeah, it took me 6 days to download that.
That's a lot.
So
I have 200 down, so...
Yeah, I'm paying for 20 down. 100 down, 20 up. But I'm not getting the 100 down. Even after they came in and rewired the place, I'm still not getting 100 down.
Yeah. Of course, that's megabits, not bytes, so if it were
That's
megabytes, that'd be a different story.
Google Fiber, come and save me, please. I really would love Google Fiber right now. But that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Not right now, at least. Linus Tech Tips just got 10 gigabytes up and down.
Oh, I saw that.
They said it's costing them over $3,000 a month for that.
That's so expensive, but that must
But
be wonderful.
they also have home grade gigabit at his house, and he's paying 120 a month for it for gigabit.
That's not
I don't know how much is it around here.
gigabit.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I can't get any other internet provider besides Spectrum, so I'm not.
Well, let's find out what.
I haven't quite searched for that.
Let's see what Spectrum costs. Spectrum. Oops. Spectrum gigabit. Only if. I don't think. Updates on Hurricane Florence. Oh, that doesn't really help. Where do I get? How do you find them? Does it make you log in to actually get prices?
Yes. Well, it makes you apply to them, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't. Charter's gigabit is $105 a month,
That should be the same company.
but going up to 125, so it'll be about 125. I have Comcast. What is Comcast gigabit? I would love to have gigabit. What is the pricing for this? That's 100 meg. Really? They don't offer gigabit? Check for gigabit speeds in your area. Shop Xfinity services. Are you gonna tell me how much they're gonna cost? Cause really, whatever. Let's see what this is gonna cost me. I'm going to change my information now. Or not. Xfinity, finding best deal. So let's see what this would cost me to get gigabit. Up to 150 megabits downloads.
Do view all offers.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't seem right.
Must be all they offer.
Huh? Comcast isn't offering gigabit. I know AT&T does. I saw their plans. It's like $120 a month, something like that.
Good old Batman Tower.
Yeah, we're located out in Nashville, so we every time I go to work, I see the Batman Tower. Right here, AT&T. Fiber. Oh, they have fiber running to my place. $100 a month for gigabit. $90 a month for gigabit. That's not too bad at all.
No, I wouldn't complain about that.
But AT&T is a nasty company to work for, so be careful if you ever do any business with them. At my current job, we're working with AT&T, and they have ignored us calling them, and yet we're paying them to do service. We're paying them to do service with us, yet they ignore us whenever we need some help. And when we actually get them to pick up, they take 3 weeks to come down and actually help us with an issue. And if they don't want to do it, they blame the issue on us and tell us to fix our own issue. So if AT&T, I don't suggest going with them, especially if you're in the Nashville area, as they are pretty nasty since they own everything.
Yeah.
They probably own most of Nashville, if I'm to bet on that.
When you have almost a monopoly.
Yeah, Google Fiber ends 4 blocks away from me, so I can't get that. And Comcast and AT&T own all the lines up to my apartment complex, so I can't get Google Fiber. I wish I could get Google Fiber, but Google Fiber is nice. And it's fairly cheap. Is there any sort of pricing on it? Well, Google Fiber is guaranteed gigabit, so whatever the price is, I actually don't know what the pricing would be. Where is Nashville?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Right there. There we go. I
70
would
bucks a
love
month.
that.
Oh my. Included with
I wish I
1
could get
terabyte
that.
of cloud storage. I don't think you would use that though.
I'd make use of it some way or another. But that's really cool. If you guys can get Google Fiber, get that because Google is very easy to work with. I have worked with Google's customer support, and they are phenomenal.
I think it's wonderful that they also have no annual service contract. Everything's monthly.
Yeah, you can
So
cancel it as well.
Yeah.
So that's very nice too. I wish Google Fiber would come to my apartment complex, but they're not going to because it's too expensive. Google's trying to get wireless gigabit now, so that they're scratching fiber, and instead of buying out poles and lines and such, they're building antennas on top of buildings and just using that to get gigabit connection.
I wonder if that'll allow Or I wonder if they'll release another router that can have gigabit output that you can purchase for your house.
AC. Anything AC is gigabit.
So I wonder if they're going to release a...
Technically, the router I have is gigabit. It's AC. So anything AC standard or newer is gigabit. I don't...
awesome.
What's the newest standard for router? Router Wi-Fi standard. I know AC's been out for a while. Oh, it's only AC?
802.11. What's the new one? I think AC is where it's at right now.
Oh, it's ACADAF. No, there's AC's right there. AF. I've never heard of these standards actually being used. This one was in 2017, but it's not actually used publicly. Is AI? Huh. I wonder why that one's not being used. 45 gigahertz unlicensed spectrum available. So this one's based in China.
Right there. 802.11ax is a successor to 802.11ac and will increase efficiency of wireless networks.
Well, we'll see if it can compete with 5G. Of course, if we don't get throttled.
Providing 4 times the throughput of 802.11c.
4 times, so 4 gigabit, more than likely, something like that.
Most likely.
Okay.
Yes, sir, that is being too low.
That'd be kind of interesting to see, because 5G is supposed to be released next year as a as kind of like the new standard for cell phones.
Okay. I know.
Because iPhones says the gigabit 4G, which is not true because you can't have gigabit 4G. It doesn't go that fast. And 5G is supposed to be gigabit based. So I'm assuming that iPhones have the modem inside of it to work with 5G networks. They just have them turned off until it starts getting released, which will be nice to see. 5G, because it's so fast, you could just buy a hotspot from your cell phone provider and never have to pay for internet from Comcast or anything like that, which I think would be really good if they can release some good plans for hotspots. Right now I'm on Cricket and I have unlimited data, but it slows down after 22 gigabytes. If you can find an unlimited data plan that doesn't throttle and it's cheaper than getting internet in your house, I would go for that over just buying it from Comcast or whatever one is offered in your area. Because at least right now 4G is almost everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you see anything that says I think it's HSPA plus or something like that on your phone, that's 4G. LTE is 4G LTE, so it's the next standard for 4G that's a little bit faster than regular 4G. There's also LTE plus, and then a volt. A volt LTE is the fastest that they have, but only Europe has it, as far as I know. I don't know any U.S. states that have it.
I'm not entirely sure.
But then again, Europe tends to get technology faster. At least newer technology, I would say. Around here, ISPs kind of control what kind of technology we get, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's also a different topic that's a little controversial and don't really want to talk about.
Yep.
But that seems like all we've got for the stream for tonight. And I think next week we should be either Saturday or Sunday. And I'm hoping within a couple weeks I'll have money to get the Adobe software so I can start producing videos. But let me say goodbye, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Stop streaming.